the agenda, but I don't have the...
There's 5 minutes back there when we get set.
What?
They probably have to.
Well, I have that, but I don't...
No, there's 7 minutes back there too, if you want minutes.
Oh, yeah, I ran them. I wasn't here, so... But that way, if there's something I need to see, I can look at it.
I don't landscape, so...
Okay, well... All right, well, that'll be fine. I did that.
I'd like to welcome everybody this evening to the Mississinewa Community School regular meeting of the Board of Trustees for Monday, February 5th. At this time, I'd like to ask Board Member Mr. Chris Cunningham to lead us in the prayer and the pledge. Please stand.
Let us pray. Gracious Heavenly Father, we thank you for the opportunity to be here tonight, Lord. We're saddened at the loss of 2 of our students, Lord. And as we grieve and as we mourn the loss of these students, we ask you to give us comfort and give us peace, Lord. Guide and direct us tonight as we come together as a community. Lord, we ask that you bless our efforts tonight as we vote and consider items concerning our children, who we love dearly, Lord, and always seek to protect. We ask that you be with our administrators, teachers, and staff, and particularly our students during this trying time as well, Lord. Lord, we love you and continue to thank you for all you do. Lord, particularly watch over and protect our servicemen and women who continue to put themselves in harm's way to keep us safe. Bring them back home to us. Nurture them, Lord. Be with them and give them comfort. In your name we pray. Amen. Amen. I pledge
allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mr. Cunningham.
You're most welcome, sir.
At this time, I will turn it back to Mr. McKenzie for some comments, please.
Yes, I asked Mr. Banks, our school board president, if I could have a few minutes before we begin the business portion of our meeting. I want to make some comments concerning the tragedy that occurred this past weekend. Because of the sensitivity of the situation, I felt like a lot of times I make these comments and remarks off the cuff and just from the heart. And as much as I'd like to do that in this case, I think because of the nature of the situation, it called for a prepared written statement. So if you'll indulge me for a few minutes, I'd like to read my statement to you. Tragically, the Ole Miss family experienced the terrible news this past weekend involving the deaths of 2 of our students. One from the middle school, Elaine Byers, and one from the high school, Corbin Page. Words cannot really do justice to provide comfort for the pain and grief these families must be experiencing. Our deepest and sincerest condolences go out at this time for these families and for the friends of these 2 students. We at Mississinewa Community Schools believe that every student is important and every life is precious. So, of course, we are all extremely saddened by these events. Education in schools are an imperfect institution because we are human-based. So we will never get it all right all the time. But on balance, I believe we get it right almost all the time for almost all of the people. With that said, I want to express my sincere appreciation to the administrative team for their collaboration, their leadership, and support in this time of crisis for Mississinewa schools. I toured both schools this morning, the middle school and the high school, and we had added counseling support available at both of the buildings. And as I walked the halls, I saw students in class and teachers teaching. We need to grieve, and we also need to carry on. Carry on with the business of education. We can do both. This is, I believe, is a tribute to our staff and to our students. This is a troubled world we live in. And when this period of grief and sadness is over and this tragic event begins to subside, then hopefully it will be a time of reflection for all of us. I hope it becomes a time that we all become more aware. We all become better educated. We all become more assertive about realizing and knowing the signs and circumstances that could lead to trouble or maybe even tragedy for our kids and their families. I believe we all have an obligation to do our part in getting help to those in trouble. We all have a part to play. Students have a part to play. The students have to be more aware and alert for each other. Students have to be willing to push past peer pressure when they see a troubled friend and talk to adults that can get them help. Staff at school have to be more aware and more alert. Parents have to be more aware and more alert and on guard to protect their children. This was a personal tragedy. It was also a personal event, but it is also a community tragedy. And everyone needs to do their part, no matter how big or how small, to help kids and their families who are struggling or in trouble. Finally, I want to thank Family Services and our local ministerial association and Needham Story Funeral Home for their counseling support that they provided in our time of need. And I want the families and friends of these two students to know that their loss is our loss. Their pain is our pain. And may God bless these kids and their families. And at this time, our prayers go out for them. So.
Thank you, Mr. McKenzie. Very well done. All right, we will go line item 38, minutes of previous meeting.
Mr. President,
Mr. Cunningham.
I make a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
Have a motion by Mr. Cunningham. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Crouch. Any comments or discussion regarding the previous minutes? All right, not hearing any. All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 39, bowling team recognition.
Yes, on a more happier note, we have a group of our students with us and their coach, Mr. Kevin Carney. And this is our bowling team, and it is a club sport, but they're no less important to us. They competed and represented Mississinewa High School in the Mid-Central Conference sectional, and they were victorious. And so they have brought the trophy with them, and I would ask Coach Carney if he would to introduce his team and let them be recognized at this point.
Haley O'Bannon, Olivia Banter, Lindsay Young, Miss Banter, Madison Higginbotham, Hayden Allen. My name is Kevin Carney, and I am their head coach. I'm the head coach of the boys team as well. The boys did not fare as well, although we do have a boys team. So please pass the word that we do have bowling at Mississinewa, and we have a very strong bowling environment, okay? Some of the parents that were here for the year supporting their children are here as well tonight, and I thank them for being here. This is my first year as their head coach. I have been in Indiana High School bowling for the last 9 years at another community, and I was asked by the proprietor of Gas City's Victory Lanes if I would take over the program and help it grow and help them to become champions. This is where it gets emotional for me. Because at the beginning of the year, and I tell this very jokingly and very laughingly, 3 of my girls that are standing up here started with a 67, a 77, and a 103.
I want to bowl with those girls.
Not anymore, sir. Not every one of them. Every one of them ended up with averages near or over 100.
Wow.
Okay? I have Lauren Banter, who is second in the Mid-Central Conference with a 170 average. And Peyton Allen, who is to my left, was third in the state in the average.
Wow.
At 203.
Woo.
Okay? So, if any of you ever remember bowling and how fun, awkward, and troubling it was for you if you don't know how to bowl, or some of you that did bowl and bowled very well in leagues and joint leagues, you can appreciate what it really takes. But these girls will tell you, practice isn't easy. Okay? Because they have to go through drills. And yes, there's drills in bowling. And I'm going to ask them all, just for laughs, and just so that they have something to remember. Remember what we look like at the line, ladies? Let's do it. Here we go. 1, 2, come on. Ready? Let's do it. Yeah, come on. 1, 2,
Get those phones ready.
3. Thank you very much to the Mississinewa School Corporation and Mr. McKenzie and our athletic director for allowing us this time. At this time, will you please come up here and accept this trophy? Girls, all of you put your hands on it and hand it to your athletic director.
You can, but I have one final question. I'm just going to lay it out there. You don't have to give me the answer. I'm curious. Can you beat the boys' team?
Yeah.
I kind of thought that's the answer I'd get.
I think I've already did.
Yeah, no, they did.
Only my mom.
Congratulations, lady. We're proud of you.
Ladies. Good job.
Thank you, Mr. Carney.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming. Thank you, Mr. Carney. Thanks for coming.
You bet.
Great.
Okay, line item 40, 2018-2019 course offerings. Mr.
Yes,
McKenzie.
I know that Mrs. Winter and the administrative team and counselors have been working very hard on this. The objective is to develop a curriculum that we have done, I think, a great job in developing our curriculum through the AP offerings and dual credit offerings. Developed a great curriculum for students that are going to a liberal arts college. But the struggle for public education, sorry, that's my daughter, I'll kill her.
I think you turned on your phone when you
I turned it off. But anyway, I think the struggle for public education for a long time has been creating a relevant curriculum for kids who are not pursuing a liberal arts education post-graduation. And I know that the state has made a big push towards this, and Mrs. Winter has been out in front of the state on their programming and has done a great job. I listened to a discussion with her and the Ivy Tech today, and I can tell you she knows this stuff inside and out. And so I'll turn it over to Mrs. Winter.
On your agenda, there's a little bit of a typo. Mr. Quatter and Mrs. Richards are going to do the presentation, and I think you're going to be impressed what they put together for you.
Hi, I'm Amy Richards. I'm the Director of Guidance at the high school. I know some of you, but not all of you, so I wanted to introduce myself. The administrative team and the counseling team at both RJ Basket and at the high school have been meeting for several months. We've been discussing our course offerings and discussing how to best revamp those, with the ultimate goal of providing more relevant and meaningful educational opportunities for all students, which is what Mr. McKenzie was just referring to. We want to make sure that every student, regardless of their what they're going to be doing after high school, that they are having meaningful and relevant education in our buildings. And that was our ultimate goal. And we want our students to be prepared not only to go to college, many of them do, but also for those who are going to enter the workforce. We want to make sure that they have the skills they need so that they're ready to go into the workforce if that is what they're choosing to do after high school. So using the Indiana Department of Education's College and Career Pathways as our guide, we are proposing several new classes for this upcoming 18-19 school year. And we have put together a video that we showed to our student body that introduces you all to these new courses.
No, I'm not going to sing or dance.
You guys see all right?
You guys do. Should we get a tech guy?
I'm not saying your job's on the line.
Should we get a tech guy or something? Where's the kids at when you need them?
Technology great when it works.
Spike, go get your
There we
grade.
go. Let me help you. I got you.
Go get your grade, kid, Spike.
We need backup.
I know. Yeah, I'll figure it out.
I only tested it 3 times here, right before the board meeting.
I'll vouch for that.
Yeah, you.
As with the curriculum, nothing is ever perfect and predictable.
That's the year this will be ready.
We tell our students all the time and each other, no one will always remember our mistakes, but they sure remember how we respond afterwards.
Everybody jot down that airplane passcode.
Okay, action photo.
Mississinewa Community Schools.
Groundhog Day.
Continues to provide an inclusive pre-K through 12 curriculum in which all individuals can learn and be successful. It is important Mississinewa High School constantly be finding ways to increase student activities after high school. MHS has worked hard over the past 6 months to create partnerships that will allow new and exciting experiences for Mississinewa High School students. MHS students will now have opportunities to participate in the following curricular options as we strive to meet the specific goals and needs of all of our students. Work-based learning experiences and internships throughout the community. Curriculum pathways that include agricultural, animal science, health sciences, biomedical, health sciences, nursing, criminal justice, education and early childhood, marketing, and entrepreneurship. We'll also increase our dual credit options. An already robust AP curriculum that will see its own additions by adding AP Capstone, AP Art Studio, and AP Music Theory. Director of Guidance, Mrs. Richards, is now going to share some specifics on these opportunities.
Thank you, Mr. Quadrer. I'm glad I get to tell you all about the new and exciting opportunities we're offering for the 2018-2019 school year. It's going to be an exciting year, full of new opportunities for you. We will be offering new dual credit courses that include 12th grade English, public speaking, college algebra and trigonometry, chemistry, U.S. history, microeconomics and Spanish. We're pleased to be able to increase our advanced placement offerings as well. AP Seminar is a new course that will engage students in cross-curricular conversations that explore the complexities of academic and real-world topics and issues. We're also offering 3 new AP Art Studio classes: drawing, 2D design, and 3D design. Finally, we're able to offer AP Music Theory for serious music students who are interested in learning musicianship skills such as diction, sight singing and harmony, as well as music theory, musical materials, and procedures. For those of you who are interested in career and technical education classes but are not able to attend the Career Center, we are thrilled to announce that we will be offering more career and technical education classes than ever before. We will have 3 new agriculture classes, a new computer science class, business law and ethics, interpersonal relationships, and health science ed 2, which will allow students to earn 8 college credits and their CNA certification in just 1 semester. Last but not least, this year we've been piloting a couple internships. Next year, we hope to have 15 to 20 seniors in internship experience to better prepare students for the world of work. Big changes are coming in 2018-19 at Mississinewa High School. These changes are happening to better prepare all students for life beyond high school, whether that's a 4-year university, a 2-year university, an apprenticeship program, work certification, the military, or a career. It's a good time to be a student at Mississinewa High School because no other school in the county is able to offer the variety of courses that we are able to offer. Take advantage of our courses and get yourself on a path to be better prepared for your future.
As you can see, Mississinewa High School will continue to find avenues for student learning and success. You will have an opportunity to select courses for the 2018-2019 school year beginning in February. Please consider these offerings along with everything else Mississinewa High School has to offer when selecting your pathway. Mrs. Richards and Mr. Cocking will be meeting with you and working hard to provide you with a tailored high school experience that meets your needs and desires. At the completion of this video, your teacher will distribute course selection forms. Prior to meeting with your counselor, you should review the information on the course selection form and mark the classes you'd like to take for the 2018-2019 school year. A complete list of classes and descriptions is available on the high school webpage.
No, we can clap for that. Now, there's no trophy, but that was pretty good.
Autographs later.
Again, the video was pretty comprehensive. But the thing that I guess I want to wrap this up before I hand it back to Mrs. Winter, this is not an Amy and Steve thing at all. Fortunately for all of us, this is a K through 12. Everybody's on board. Everybody's at the meetings. We're meeting once a week, and we've been meeting to discuss this and put these things into position for a long, long time. Just outstanding leadership by Mr. McKenzie and Mrs. Winter have allowed us to come together and spend some time together putting these things on paper, talking through, deciding, looking at licensure, going through transcripts. Just a lot of work has gone into this. We didn't just pull these kind of out of the sky. One of the things is I went to each department and shared some of these things. If you hear we're adding new, well, where are we going to put new? A lot of these, that's kind of a misnomer because a lot of these courses are going to take the place or kind of go together with another course. There are some courses that will be additional, certainly the CTE courses and the agriculture courses that we don't currently have. But I can think of like a dual credit American history class. Those students will be in our AP US history class. So those students will have an opportunity to earn AP credit and or dual credit through Indiana University. So I'm very proud to be a part of this team. I appreciate everybody's input, all the things that have gone into this. Not every single one of these classes are going to go, but we've got them on the radar now, and we've got teachers that are ready and willing to teach these courses. And again, just creating more and more opportunities for our students each and every year. So we appreciate your support. Again, I just can't say enough about our team and all the work that they've done to put this together for us. So I want to throw it over to Mrs. Winter, who's going to talk a little bit about early college high school.
You know, one of my favorite presidents always said, greatness comes from surrounding yourself with greatness. And when you look out here, boy, do we have greatness, that's for sure. But early college high school is a completely different philosophy than dual credits. And in early college high school, you're looking to serve underserved students seeking to get applied degrees that can be stackable with workplace certification. We are committed to finishing the early college philosophy through the cell at University of Indianapolis. It's a 4-year program. We're in our 2nd year of it. Amy and Joanna Sneff and Kent Cocking and I are the team that goes to the required meetings, and we were there on Friday, and we were just so impressed to be able to network with a few school systems that are really cutting edge in this area. I think you're going to be excited in the next few months that comes as we're going to try to introduce a little bit more about this to you every couple months so that you're aware of it, because I think it's just going to generate a lot of excitement throughout the community and throughout the school system for kids, and more importantly for teachers. And it says a lot about our staff that are willing to take this on, but I think they see how much fun it is to teach things that kids actually really enjoy doing. And just be patient with us. I try to tell them every week when we meet, don't be afraid to fail, because there's going to be a lot of learning curves as we do this, but just to stay positive and stay enthusiastic as we work through this. The other piece too is that the AP capstone and seminar courses, what an exciting opportunities for kids, because those programs are individualized. Kids, students come into it with an idea that they want to study. There may be a student who decides they're going to compose a music piece, and that could possibly be their project. There could be a student who is going to compare different literatures through the ages. That could be their project. So there could be 15 to 20 students all doing different programming that they are really interested in. And then obviously the art studio AP, that is all studio-based work where students are graded and judged on their own individual work. And if you follow our Twitter account to see how many talented art students we have, what an exciting opportunity for them to be able to have that exposure to reaching what they're really, really talented at. But with that said, it would never happen without a progressive superintendent and a progressive school board, because this is progressive. This is what good school systems do when they move forward. So we're extremely excited, and any support that we can get from the community as we move forward in this, we would really, really support and appreciate that. Any questions for us? Great job.
Thank you. Thank you for your
Mr.
initiative.
Quadro, Richards.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Fleming, thanks for hitting that on button. Brutal.
Yeah, he is, isn't he?
No, I just wanted to follow up on that and say I couldn't be more proud of the administrative team and the counselors, Mrs. Winter. I don't know what to do without her. Not only in this crisis we just faced, they were instrumental in their leadership at their buildings today, but I know they have been, I've watched them from afar in a lot of cases, but I have observed how much time and effort they have put in to preparing for this. Ever since I've been a young educator, I have been exposed to the theory that it's very important to make learning relative to students and to put them in situations where they apply their learning to real life situations. Well, with liberal arts, college-bound curriculum, in a lot of cases that's a challenge. And without, even if you believe in that theory locally, without the state behind that, it's hard to implement those kinds of changes. But the state is now a leader in this movement to make education relative, especially for kids who are going the vocational track for their lifetime of earning a living. And we keep saying it's become a cliche, learning is a lifetime commitment. And that wasn't so much so for those of us around this table, but I do believe it is a part of the reality for the future, especially of vocational careers, that they are constantly going to have to be recertified or certified in some new area that the economy produces as jobs. And I think that's why I'm so excited and proud of our people, because we are on the cutting edge of implementing these opportunities for our kids. So I appreciate them, all of you, very much for that.
Very good. Thank you. Appreciate the initiative. All right, we will move on. Item 41, technology update.
Yeah, I'm going to let Mrs. Winter take this one too. I just want to remind the board that actually you voted for this budget already, and we talked about this last fall, that we were intending to go to a one-to-one initiative, preschool through 12 next year, and that the 3 years is up and it's time for a renewal on the lease. And that's what we're going to be asking you to vote on towards the end of the presentation, is that we need your an official board vote on this new lease. But you have already approved of the budget for this. So with that said, Mrs. Winter.
Okay. I'm going to have Mr. Fleming do this presentation, but I know that had to be nerve-wracking for him to start off Steve's presentation like it did, and that is very, very rare for that to happen. So I think we need to blame Steve, since he's the youngest of the group. But I think what's so impressive is that the technology team is all here today, and I want you guys to stand up, including the principals. This group also meets monthly and goes over these curricular and this technology things. And I am telling you, you have an absolutely unbelievable team in front of you. If I was going to have the opportunity to start my own school system, every single one of these people would be asked to come with us. That's not going to happen because I'm way too old. But, they are just an extraordinary group, and Bruce has done an absolutely unbelievable job leading them. So, no, stay up the whole presentation.
All right, so I guess even though there's little evidence of one of their leaders not being able to display an image on a monitor, you know, I'm really pleased, and we're really pleased, you know, with the progress that we've made in technology over the last few years. So, you know, thank you so much for your support and your vision for allowing us to grow the way we have. You know, we've all been doing amazing things and have just grown so much through our offerings to the students in our school. All of this is due to the organization that's been taking place over several years. We just get more and more organized in people's roles, and just I wish I could just really have you understand how excited I am with the things that are happening. You know, the technology integration and planning, you know, we have valuable pieces in place. You saw, you know, our staff, you know, we of course have Leslie to answer to and to help guide us and direct us. And, you know, when I said we were organizing over the last few years, that's all from her vision and her guidance. So just a great job there. We have, I don't know if you noticed, there were different types of people standing or different positions. We had some administrators with principals. We had our main tech support group with the day-to-day contact with teachers for repair and planning. If I could introduce Rob Rodman, Stephen Jeffries, and Bill Meek, you could see that they're in different color shirts. I kind of bailed on them. Just didn't feel that comfortable without a tie. But those are my right-hand men. We have technology integration coaches in Jacob Felger, Becky Meek, Heather Rumpel, Nicole Skeens. Thomas Cheney is teaching the robotics class, technology class at integrated with science in the elementary schools. We have Stacy Marshall is the tech department secretary and helps us stay organized. And again, you saw a lot of other people, principals, and just a tremendous support group. We do meet monthly with a working agenda so that we could keep the integration of technology at the forefront, keep it present in our mind. We wanted to talk about a few things tonight with you. One is the replacement plan. 3 years ago, we switched devices and went from an iPad with the students at the high school to having laptops, and we moved that into the middle school, so we have a one-to-one program, a one-to-one device to student ratio for grades 6 through 12. They're able to take those home. We currently are in year 3 of our 3-year plan. So we're ready to do a refresh this spring. So right now we have approximately 2,100 devices out there, laptops, iPads, other peripherals. Everything at this point has been paid off. Mrs. Townsend has made that final 4th year payment. We did something creatively, I don't know if you remember, 3 years ago we decided to get a 4-year lease, splitting the payments into 4 payments, and we were going to refresh after 3 years, and our plan was to sell the equipment to recoup the 4th year's payment. So she's already made that 4th year payment, and we're ready now at the end of this school year to convert that over. Your decision to use Apple, to help choose Apple as a device, has been very good. These devices have withstood a lot of mobility with the students, with them taking them from class to class, those students toting them home, and who knows where else, to the libraries, to their friends' houses. They've stood up very well. And I even have a sheet in front of you of what we've spent in repairs over the last 3 years. And you could see year 3, we spent $15,000 on parts to help maintain 3-year-old equipment. That's amazing. I think, when people from other corporations ask me why our costs are so, low, one, we've picked a good product in choosing those Apple laptops. 2, from the administration down, everybody's accepted responsibility for the way they maintain those and the way they take care of them. The administrators stress to the teachers that they want to not see students with laptops out of the protective cover, the protective bag. And I don't know if you've seen anybody walking down the street where you could see their laptop. I never see it. I never see it at ball games. I never see it in schools as I'm walking through the buildings. I never see it anywhere I go. I see those bags, but I never see the physical laptop. The teachers are doing a great job making sure that those students do not leave those classrooms without putting them in the bag. the students, the parents are doing a great job encouraging those students when they're home. Our kids have accepted that responsibility and kind of taken pride in the way that they take care of those devices. So just amazing. And I attribute that to how our community takes pride in those devices, you know. We do expect a high resale value. We are projecting, we've started studying a year ago what the future value will be of those devices when it's time to reappropriate them. And right now, our estimation is, you know, just about $500,000 that we should be able to recoup if everything goes towards the projected values as of now. And that last payment, I believe, was $452, right around there. So we should even be able to make a little bit of money towards that next lease. So we're really pleased with our decision. Apple has great support in the educational programming, training that they offer the schools to help incorporate, you know, the technology into the classroom. You know, that's a great decision, going with those Apple products. Then our plan is to stay with those Apple products, expand our one-to-one program to move down to preschool and have every student at Mississinewa be able to have a device at their fingertips all of the time. So we're really pleased with that. And that would include the teachers and the support staff as well. They have devices in their hands, and we're planning to replace those. So I don't know if right now you have the stats in front of you as far as maintenance over the last few years. You can see that we are not spending a lot on maintenance. We do collect, as you can see those little footnotes on the bottom. We charge our students $20 a year for device usage, which means that we are collecting approximately $20,000 per year, or $60,000 over the life of this lease. And you could see, you know, even with the non-repairable and the missing items, we should be able to be self-supportive. So at this time, I think Jill wants to talk to you a little bit about the quote that we have and the bids for the leasing.
Yes, as Bruce mentioned, we did make the final payment on the last lease, so he did provide the specs to 4 different companies for lease on this one-to-one initiative, and I presented those in front of you this evening, and Apple Finance Company, who had our last lease, they're the least expensive on this one as well, as we expected that would be the case. It's well within the budget that I proposed to you last fall. It is in the 2018 budget. So tonight, what we would like to do is ask for your permission to contact Apple and let them know that we would select their company. And then the next meeting, after we secure the leasing papers, we would get your permission to execute that lease. So any questions, do you have any?
So you need a motion then, right?
Yeah, I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. President,
Ms. Freitas?
I move that we contact Apple Finance and award them accept their bid on the financing of the new computers for next year.
I'll second.
A motion by Mrs. Freitas and a second by Mr. Gaskin. Any comments or discussion regarding requests for financing? Not seeing any. All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
All right, but thank you so much for that additional support. We're excited about moving those devices into the elementary school at that 1-to-1 ratio for being able to expand our programming. So thank you so much. There are a few, just two quick, I guess, not commercials, but I guess pieces of knowledge that so that you can see what type of work we're doing. One is it's important for us to become an Apple Distinguished School. There are only a few across the state, a small handful. You have to be invited to apply for this. We've received an invitation. However, in order to qualify, we have to have 80% of our staff be Apple certified. So we've already started. We have, I haven't checked this week, but I think that we're almost 100% of our tech staff is already Apple certified, and we need to continue that and train the other teachers. So we've developed what we call is a program called our Technology Pathways. We want to help our teachers become more proficient in integrating the technology in the classroom. So we've set up this overall set of pathways that each teacher can follow depending on their skill level. So everybody jumps on board, but they jump on board on a different train car, right, depending on where they are, and we progress them from whatever skills that they have at this time. We still want to progress them forward. We are also going to start with our Apple certified school goals, and that is to become Apple certified. So that's something that we're going to, in the near future, introduce to our staff, our entire plan, and to start that training for them. So, we really believe that, in this, we are going to be using, proven best practices in the area of technology, training, and preparing us and our students to become, truly 21st century digital learners. So we're excited about doing that. Something else that we're investigating at this time is the e-learning flex days. And I'm sure you've all heard of this. There are different ways that schools can take advantage of the DOE's e-learning program. And one of them that we're investigating right now is using the technology to allow the students to make up days missed in the event of having a day off, snow day, or even what we'd like to do is investigate being able to offer professional development days to our staff and not have the students lose a day of learning or extend the calendar. The students could go ahead and learn. So we've already initiated that. We're going to get a committee together and start investigating that in the future, and hopefully we'll have in the next few months be presenting something to you for us to be an e-learning school. Those are the only things I wanted to keep it semi-short. Again, I apologize for the glitch. Hopefully you won't, I guess, think of our group as one that's incapable.
When you're always presenting one of those, Bruce, it always seems like it's forever, but it went a very long time.
Okay, good. Well, then I could go further if you guys want.
Yeah.
No,
I did have a question, though, on Apple
Sectional
certification.
championships, though.
On Apple certification, is that so once you go through it, are you certified, or is there a recertification that takes place?
Well, they're offering other, they have, the different skills are, you earn these badges. So in order to become Apple certified, you have to earn six badges. It ranges from just using video, editing tools in the classroom, having your skills sharpened on the word processing, the spreadsheet, some basic skills, and then they're always adding more. Right now, they're adding, they're not keeping it, they're not calling it a badge, but they are adding coding for teachers to help train the students how to code. Okay. They have a lot of different programs, so there's no stopping. It's kind of like our technology pathways.
So it's sort of like a CQI process, this continuous
Right.
quality improvement process for the
Right.
certification.
Mhm.
Okay, thanks.
Terry?
What computers are the preschoolers and the first, second, third, fourth gonna have?
We're going to have the iPads.
Will they be new too?
Yes,
everything
everything
will be
is
new?
going to be refreshed. And I forgot, I failed to mention that we will be having a community-wide sale like we did last time. So we will offer all of our equipment to the staff, to the students, so the student could actually purchase the device that they have. A teacher can do the same. We will take, after they get first bids on theirs, then we will open up a community-wide sale in June, and then whatever we don't have, we will need to keep some for our summer school programs. We won't be ready to give those the brand-new devices. It takes us a little bit of time with the logistics and preparing those. And then right at the end of summer, we will have secure a reseller. So right now, we're going out and getting quotes from resellers on who's going to give us the most for our devices.
Now, will they be able to take theirs home, the little kids?
Well, that's in talks. We're trying to find out what's best. We are so pleased with the way our students took care of those devices, and we're hoping it will go down. But we still have to investigate what is truly the best practice at that age for being able to take those home.
It'd be a grade by grade situation, probably, right? 5, 6.
Yeah, we'll
5, 4,
probably
3.
break it down into, I'm sure a fifth grader will have less accidents than a first grader. Sure. Anything else I can help answer?
Any other questions?
All right, great. Again, thanks for your support.
Thank you, Mr. Fleming. You did redeem yourself. But truthfully, I want to say that we couldn't have a more dedicated, hardworking person in that position. I know he spends a lot of weekends here working on projects and those kinds of technology needs that we have in this corporation, and we appreciate your work, Mr. Fleming, and thank you.
All right, good. Moving on, item 42, personnel. Mr. McKenzie.
Yes, Mr. President, we have one resignation for the board's consideration this evening. That would be Jacob Bradford has resigned as a paraprofessional at R.J. Baskett Middle School effective last Friday, February 2nd. And so we would recommend approval of this personnel item as presented.
Thank you, Mr. McKenzie. What's the board's pleasure?
Mr. President,
Mr. Gaskin.
I make the motion we accept the superintendent's recommendation on personnel as presented.
I'll second.
I have a motion by Mr. Gaskin, a second by Mrs. Freitas. Any comments or discussion regarding the personnel item? All right, not seeing any. All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 43, conference request. Mr. McKenzie.
Yes, again, Mr. President, we have the following conference requests for the board's consideration. Kurt Funk, Steve Wilson, and Josh Stearns to attend the Glacier Football Clinic in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania on February 23rd through the 25th to be paid for from the athletic account, and we would recommend approval of this conference request as presented.
Thank you. What's the board's pleasure?
Mr. President,
Mr. Cunningham.
I make a motion to approve the conference request as presented.
A motion by Mr. Cunningham. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Mrs. Freitas. Any comments or discussion regarding that request? All right, not seeing any. All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Line item 44, facilities report. Mr. McKenzie.
Yes, the tech office is fully operational at this point, and we have a tour planned for you if you'd like. As soon as the meeting's over, we would encourage the board to go down there with us and take a look at that new office. It's exemplary. Also, I wanted to let the board know that, I don't know, a week or 10 days ago, we had an initial meeting with our principals, and that meeting also included Mr. Gosser, Mrs. Townsend, Mrs. Winter, and myself. I had asked back in December for the principals to start thinking about summer maintenance projects that they would like considered for 2018, and I had them bring their lists with them, and we just had an initial discussion about that. Mr. Gosser is presently working on estimates, ballpark figures for those projects, and at that point, once that information is provided to me, I will again turn that back to the principals, and they will do some prioritizing based on their budgets that they have to work with. And then once we get a plan that's not in stone, I would never do that to the board, maybe thick soup, and we will bring that to you. The first meeting in March is our plan, and get your input, some things that you would like to see considered, and answer maybe your questions about the plan. And it'll be a plan that's within budget. So that's our plan, is to talk with you in that, maybe a public work session on that date to give you an initial review of our thoughts on those projects. So that's all I have, and
Okay.
I don't think Mr. Gosser has any additional things.
Any questions from the board regarding facilities? All right, we will move on. Item 45, legislative update. Mr. Cunningham.
Thank you, Mr. President. A couple of items, bills to look at for you to jot down. 1167, financial management. It allows for the use of rainy day funds to be able to fund bonuses and stipends for staff, teachers. And it also allows for money at the end of a fiscal year to be transferred into a rainy day fund for that utilization. You might give that bill a look. Next bill, 1169, textbooks. Covers the cost and expense of textbook fees for all students in Indiana. So that's currently in Ways and Means and hasn't had a hearing as yet. So we'll see what happens with that one. Senate Bill 135, notification of schools by the DCS of a child removal. Currently, right now, if our staff or someone else makes a report and as a child is removed from the home, there's no communication device right now, or no process in place for DCS to communicate that to the school corporation. Requires the schools to establish a communication person at each school building for DCS to be able to report to them that, hey, the child is no longer, they've been removed, and this is the environment that they're in.
So this is just more work for somebody, but no money to pay for them, right?
Oh, it's always, yeah. Well, I think for part of it for us is really there becomes work on our end because we're trying to find the kid.
Right.
And we're not getting any answer at the home, or, so hopefully for us, it'll be less work and maybe some removal of stress from our staff who are worried about the kid, or the child. So, and this was, I like to call this the Terry Freitas bill. It's 1165, seatbelts and buses.
Yeah.
Yeah. Requires school corporations, if it passes, to provide comparative research on the utilization and purchase of new school buses, having the price of with and without seatbelts as part of that process. Also requires a public hearing on the purchase of that school bus with or without that and the cost. And that's House Bill 1165. And that's all I have to report to you today. That it's a weird session in that there's a lot of bills that have been proposed, and there are a lot of bills that are kind of sitting there. But I think the reason they're sitting there is they're waiting for, again, a hearing. Any of these, again, that require that it's going to revolve around fiscal has to go to Ways and Means. So I don't know how Ways and Means is going to hear all these and get it through third reading and everything before the March deadline. But anyway, like I said, I've been watching all these for hearings and hearing dates, and they haven't had them. I just can imagine what the last week in February is going to be like. So probably by that time, I can't remember the date now, but they have to have that third hearing by a particular date to be able to go. So if it's a Senate bill, to go to the House, House bill to go to the Senate. If it doesn't, it's dead. I'll have some, hopefully here in a couple weeks, some more information. So entertain any questions you have, any bills that you've heard about or that you want. I'll be happy to look them up. I'd also be happy to, if we wanted to do a session on this, any kind of work session, either at or before when the legislative session's over. I can show you how this all works on the web page to be able to look all this up. It's not so if there's a bill that you were really interested in and you wanted to follow it, it's easy to. The state's really made it easier to follow. You can also watch the House and Senate sessions right from your computer. So if they publish for the week, they publish the hearings and the hearing schedules. So if you know, and generally they publish when that bill is going to be heard, you can go online and you can watch those too. But I probably already told you enough to give you nightmares tonight anyway, but that's kind of how it all works. Got any questions?
I'd like to ask a question, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Mr. Cunningham.
Mm-hmm.
On that 1169, the textbook funding, do they recognize computers as textbooks in that or not?
No. It actually, when I say it's the fee that they charge for the student, but they didn't go into that. But I'm wondering if it's the fee that's charged to the student.
Not buying a textbook with the fee we charge them.
Right, so it's the fee for the student. So they really didn't get into define. They called it textbook, but I would imagine if you charge a fee to the student, then there's a reimbursement that comes from that from the state. So
or could.
I assume it might. We turn in the usage for that now, the textbook fee.
Okay.
For reimbursement. So unless they specifically would pull that out for some reason, which I can't imagine that they would.
Well, I was kind of selfishly hoping that it's going to pass because we spend so much time trying to track down, worry about graduation, all those things like that. So if we just had to turn in what it was, would maybe and before anybody says anything, it isn't free textbooks because we're going to pay for it as taxpayers, but at least it takes all that onus off of us if it does happen. So.
Okay. Very good. Any questions for Mr. Cunningham?
Do we still buy textbooks?
Very few.
Very little.
Maybe a couple.
We have some class
AP.
AP and elementary reading.
That's why they're doing it then. So,
Well, I think it started by people, again, complaining that they can't pay. It says, requires the public schools to provide curricular material to students at no cost to the student. Establishes the curricular material fund to provide state reimbursement for costs incurred by public schools to provide curricular material to the student at no cost. Provides that the Department of Education shall administer the fund. Provides that money in the fund is continually appropriated and makes conforming changes consistent with the 2017 legislation. And the effective date for that bill would be January 1st, 2019 is when that would go into effect. And it was referred to Ways and Means on January 8th and hasn't got a hearing as yet. So I look at it every day to see if it's got a hearing. And usually that's a way, Terry, they kill it, is if they
Yeah,
don't know
just
what,
don't
they just,
ever-
they just
yeah.
don't give it a hearing. So,
Right.
you know, then, you know, nobody can say to them, oh, you didn't even hear my bill. You know, well, we couldn't get a hearing time, so.
Thank you, Mr. Cunningham.
You're most welcome.
Line item 46, claims against corporation. Ms. Town.
Yes, claims are presented tonight, including the payroll for all these fine folks. Is the amount of $1,424,695.36 for your approval, please.
Thank you. What's the board's pleasure?
Mr. President,
Mr. Kraus.
make a motion that we accept the claims as presented, please.
Motion by Mr. Kraus. Do we have a second? Second by Mr. Gaskin. Any comments or discussion regarding claims? All right, not hearing any. All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 47, correspondence and other business. Mr. McKenzie.
Yes, the next school board meeting will be on February 19th here in this room at 6:30 p.m. Again, I want to invite the board to come by the newly renovated technology room after the meeting. And I will also share with the board and the audience that's here that I received a personal phone call from Jennifer McCormick this morning, who is the Indiana State Superintendent of Public Instruction. She called me this morning to express condolences for the situation that we are in. She offered support in any way she could, or her office could, and I just thought that was extremely thoughtful and an impressive professional courtesy for her to take time out of her day to personally call Mississinewa Community Schools. So I just wanted to share that with you. That's all I have. Mrs. Townsend?
Just one thing, we did get our budget approved this week for 2018 in February, but we still met the deadline, so we're good. And next week I'll have the final tax rates and levies for you.
Good. Thank you.
Mr. President.
Good, Mike.
Is the press, no one for the press here?
I don't think
Okay,
so.
can I ask a question? I want to ask, this online, the state's pushing online school, is that something they advertise on TV about, you know, pick your own classes and stuff like that? It's something, have we dealt with anything like that at all? It's, Indiana's new online school, open enrollment, blended classes, they're encouraging kids not to do it, you know, to do it from home, I think, basically what I get from. Nothing nobody knows.
They're advertising more now. That's been in existence. Students will withdraw from us.
Right.
Go to online school,
That's what I was asking about.
homeschool, and it's typically what happens is they leave us because they're not real motivated to be there, and then you go to an online setting where you're the only motivator, and they have little to no success.
I would say that.
Well, the reason I kind of was trying to tie it in with what we're talking about, you know, e-learning, those kind of things like that. And I just, you know, I mean, they seem to be encouraging it, but, you know, yet.
Yeah,
so this is not a DOE thing then, right?
I think that,
It
I
is?
don't know that it's a DOE. I'm sure there's a component of the DOE that
Leslie
makes
says yes.
networks
Yeah,
and
it is.
connections to
Yeah.
online learning. But here's what I would say about it from Mrs. Senewa's perspective, in my opinion. And Mrs. Winter and I have talked about this, and maybe the principals as well. About 80% of the student body connects with the conventional, traditional school, that even though it's greatly different from when we went to school, it's still, in this context, the conventional school setting. And I think about, that works for about 80% of the kids, but the other 20%, it isn't a great fit. And so I think that we need to create as many opportunities as we can to meet the needs of that 20% as well. And have some digital learning experiences available through Mississinewa schools. I think there's a market out there that we could capture. A lot of homeschool kind of kids who their parents would be attracted to the idea of getting some of their child's education through online.
So we're gonna try to be competitive with that
So
idea.
we're trying to build some of those programs internally instead of relying on some for-profit enterprise. So
Thank you, appreciate
I
it.
think I remember last fall when we went to the convention, school board convention, that they said by whatever criteria you want to measure success, that online school is a total failure. So they poured a bunch more money into it. That's what we were told, so.
I'm not sure that online is certainly not for everybody, but I know that my own son is doing his first online class this semester at IU. He's doing a couple of independent studies as well this semester. So I think we have to customize as much as we have the resources for and the time resource for to try to reach those kids who, and those families and those parents who want some kind of alternative opportunities or a hybrid of the conventional and the non-conventional educational experiences. So we are working on that.
Very good. Anything else?
Mrs. Winter, you have anything?
No, we're gonna be coming to you with a kind of an alternative school philosophy that does include a virtual academy from Mississinewa, but it's a tad bit different than what they're advertising and what you're talking about. It's more of a teacher-driven online with accountability piece into it to meet those 20% or so of students are our homeschool population in our school district, to try to get them more engaged with the school as far as participating in programming and having this opportunity for them in a very non-traditional settings.
Principals have anything? Mrs. Lockwood?
We are hosting our second robotics competition this Saturday. We have 30 elementary schools participating. It was so big last year, we've moved it to the high school so that we can utilize the auxiliary gym and the main gym. I think competition starts at 9:30, and it will go on fairly most of the day. Once again, Mr. Potter is going to MC the whole thing. So.
That's why I heard we doubled, that's why.
Voice of the Indian.
You sing and dance
We
then.
had a huge waiting list. There were like 10 or 15 schools trying to get in at our site on top of the 30.
Is that right?
That's
That's
so
great.
we may continue to grow in that, but we're really excited about it, and the kids have been working hard.
Great.
So, just to let you guys know that.
I know, I went last year, and I was like, I mean, I don't know, it was like 100%, they got it, somebody got it, they go, somebody got it, they go. It's just, you can't imagine how fast-paced it is, and how serious those people take it.
And it's fun to watch
Well,
the
it is,
kids,
yeah.
and one part that you don't get to see, there's a manual portion of that where the kids can create a PowerPoint and video, and they do a manual, and I know they have had business people come in and speak to them, and they've been doing research on engineering and robotics and how that can fit into different things, and then they pick a topic and they have to present it in front of judges. So there is even some more competitions that you don't get to see out there in the gym where they're actually controlling the robots. So it'll be a fun day. So if you get a chance, even for a little bit, just to stop by and see it, it's fun to watch a bunch of 4th, 5th, and 6th graders compete. So.
And they take it very, very seriously,
They do.
and they're very,
They do.
you'll be impressed, you'll be very impressed with. And Terry, Mrs. Frace and I went to the,
Honor Society.
Honor Society induction, and Mr. Quatter was there. He did a fine job, just like he did tonight. And then the speaker was good. I thought it was short and sweet, but it was amazing. Thank you, did a nice job. And you forget how much these guys got other things going on. It was, 7 o'clock when you started. I'm sure that was probably at the end of your 16th hour.
Our Honor Society sponsor is in the room, Heather Rumpel is again the one that organized all that, so she wears.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Well, was somebody sitting in front of you earlier? He paid me, so when you come out and talk to me. No, it was a nice job. The speaker he did an excellent job, I thought.
Yes, he did.
And he was great thing. That's all I have.
Anything else from the principals? That's all we have.
Anybody else from the board have anything else to bring up? All right, I will entertain a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Second.
A motion by Mr. Gasko and a second by Mrs. Freitas. All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. I don't know that we have too many guests remaining, so we are adjourned. Thank you very much.
The cookies were good. The cookies were really good.
Yeah.